I Love Mortgage Brokering, Episode 6.
Where the best mortgage brokers get better. I Love Mortgage Brokering with your host, Scott Peckford.
Hi, Broker Nation. I am thrilled to introduce our guest today, Tylor Volk. Tylor is a mortgage broker with Mortgage Architects based out of Calgary, Alberta, and he's absolutely killing it. How you doing, Tylor?
I'm doing well, Scott. How are you doing?
Good. So if you wouldn't mind, just take a minute, tell us about yourself, and then tell us about your business.
Well, I grew up in Saskatchewan and moved to Alberta about 12 years ago. I finished my university degree here in Calgary, and after that I got into the mortgage business. I've been a mortgage broker now for about 9 years, and since then I've now own and operate a team of 13 people under the Mortgage Architects umbrella.
Awesome. And so do you mind sharing what kind of volume you guys are doing as a team?
Right now we're sitting around $100 million a year.
That's awesome. And so what I like to start with is a success quote. So I find that quotes are a great way to distill a concept or an idea down into a really short snippet. And so do you have a quote that has impacted your life or business?
Yeah, I do. It might sound a little cliche, but I really feel by following the golden rule is a great way to grow your business. Treating others how you'd want to be treated is one of my best practices.
Yeah, that is a great quote. I mean, yeah, in our business in particular, I know from my dealings with you in the past that you're definitely, you're very humble, but a very smart guy who's good at brokering. I call you behind your back, I actually call you the mortgage ninja. So, but I may actually change it to the mortgage whisperer. I'm not sure. What do you prefer, ninja or whisperer?
I'll go with ninja.
Yeah, that sounds a little bit more manly. So can you give me an example of this? You said treating others the way you want to be treated. Can you give me like a specific example of a time in your business or your life where you used that and it had a good outcome?
Well, I apply the golden rule to my day-to-day life. However, I feel that it's really good to apply it into your business. I think that by giving the client the respect that they deserve is one of the best ways to grow your business. A lot of clients come to me, they're worried, they have bad credit, maybe don't have enough income or not enough assets, and a lot of people take that as personal pride. Giving them the same level of respect as someone that has $1 million in the bank account versus someone that's just getting started, maybe went through a few bad issues or bankruptcies. You gotta treat each person fairly. By doing that, they're gonna really like working with you. They're gonna feel confident. They're gonna be able to eventually close a deal with you.
Right. You know what? That's so true, though. I find that I've talked to people who've dealt with someone else or maybe someone at a branch, and because they don't have a lot of assets or they kind of just might be spoken down to, and if you just treat everybody the same, then you don't have to worry about that stuff, right?
Oh, for sure. It's the easiest way to do the business, and then you're not just I'm just going to work with these people because they got a lot of money. They're going to be a good fit for me. You never know what opportunity is going to create from treating everyone the same. And like I said, it's one of the best things to follow.
So, do you have an example of say someone who came in that initially, if we were looking at the money side, wouldn't have been the biggest client, but then somehow turned into either opportunities or some other thing that you didn't see coming?
Oh yeah, for sure. I had a client that came to me not too long ago, probably about a year and a half ago. Wanted to ask me a bunch of questions about how mortgages work and how he can get financing, but just from quickly talking to him, I knew he's already been to his bank and he was turned down. So he's a little bit apprehensive about giving me his application because he didn't want me to see all the issues he's had with his credit. Well, he went through. He had some issues in the past and had a little bit of some gambling problems, and it caused his credit to go down. And he admitted it to me, and all that kind of stuff. And he said, "Okay, this is what you need to do." Taught him how to rebuild his credit, pay down, get his collections off his credit bureau, pay down all his debts. So over the last few months, he came back to me. He's done everything I told him to do, and now he's been able to get financing. So he's actually moving into his property in the next month. Turns out this guy isn't just your average Joe. He also manages a company that has about 50 employees here in Calgary. Well, since I've given him the credit counseling and the respect that he deserves, he started sending me all the people that work under him. So not only do I have him as a client, I'm now working with about 13, 14 of his staff.
Dude, that's so awesome, and I totally can picture you doing that. I mean, just take the time, show him this, and it's great that he followed the steps. I mean, sometimes you give people the steps, but he did it, followed them, and then obviously became a fan of the Mortgage Ninja and decided that, hey, you got to talk to my employees. So good for you, man.
Yeah, no, it's good. It always feels good when you walk someone through the steps and they actually follow through with it. It's actually rewarding. One of the areas that I like, it's easy to do your client that's got A credit and good income and works on a salary position. Those are the slam dunk deals, but the tougher ones are the ones that are more rewarding for me.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's awesome. So one of the areas that I find that is failure, and so as a business owner, entrepreneur, I've made some mistakes and I've learned some things, and so I'd love you to share a story about something that you failed at over the last 9 years of running your business and what you've learned from it.
Well, when I first started in the business, I always thought that getting the best rate was the only thing that we had to offer. Although that is one of our biggest competitive advantages, it's not the only thing that we do offer. Chasing people down and buying down the rate and getting the best deal. Some of those people are just going to take that rate and go to their bank and try and get 1 basis point better and then say, see you later. There's no loyalty there. So where I've learned from that is I've thought, well, what else do we have to offer? Well, there's a whole other side to it, and that's the service. Providing people with the advice they need, going through all the options with all the different banks, not just the one bank that they deal with, but every other bank out there. That's really worked for me. Giving people good service, feedback, communication, going through all the different costs associated to buying is really one of the biggest things I learned in this business. Yeah, no, that's so true. So that's actually kind of goes into my next question, which is I find that successful mortgage brokers like yourself always have a process or a system, and they're willing to usually they make adjustments to it on an ongoing basis in order to keep it fresh and current. And so you had said you go through the cost. So can you share something about your process, either a sales process or maybe a communication process that you have, and something that you changed and what the outcome was like after you made the change? Well, putting the deal. What I do now is before I just kind of took each deal as they came in. Wasn't as organized. Didn't have I run a lot of spreadsheets to keep track of what my closing dates. Reminders that come to me that tell me when we're 10 days out to make sure that the lawyer's being notified that that we're notifying the lawyer that the deal's closing in 10 days. Make sure they have the mortgage instructions, all that kind of stuff. So before, when I was in the business, everything was just coming in and it was very scattered. What I did is I took the process down. I wrote down everything that happens from the day that we get the application to the day that the deal funds. And I broke it down basically on a conveyor belt and did it each in sections so that if I have to leave or if I have to take some time off or whatever the reason is, that someone else can come in and start managing my book so that we're giving the clients the same level of service that they need. So if the application comes in, we try to turn it around within 24 hours. We contact the client, let them know how everything looks. Then the next step goes to following up with the lender, getting the approval documents. But it's broken down so that we get reminders at each step in the game. That's going through that process with all my agents and the team, and then my assistant. They really see value because now they're organized and now they can feel more confident, not wondering, when's that deal closing again? They know when it's closing. They know when they're going to get the deal across the goal line. So doing stuff like that is really what you need to do to make it easier on yourself.
Well, and your volume has grown, I'm sure, over the last 9 years. And as the volume grows, the complexity increases. And so I love that picture of a conveyor belt, having a conveyor belt that if you walk away from you've got to go to Mexico, because I think you did that a couple times last year. If you have to go to Mexico, someone else can step in and be like, oh, I know where it is. The file is on the conveyor belt, and they can make sure that it gets to where it needs to go and stuff's not missed. So are those reminders, are they like automatically built in, or do you set them yourself, or just, how does that work?
Yeah, we have to set them. I have a back-end system that I use, and some of the stuff that comes automatically. So, for example, clients coming up for renewal, my system already tells me that. I don't have to manually input that. But the reminders for the 10 days out, because everyone's got a different closing date. So every file that comes in, we look at the closing date. As soon as we know the closing date, we put the reminder 10 days out for the follow up with the lawyer. Also, we try to get everything condition free, provided it's not a quick close deal, 30 days before closing, so that we can give the clients the confidence. The client doesn't have to worry about the financing anymore. So no, most of it is manually.
Okay, but it's obviously working. You're able to manage it, and yeah. So it's good. I'm going to keep that in my head. I'm going to tweak my own business. The thing I love about these interviews is that every time I do one, when I'm finished, I sit down and I go, what's one thing one idea that you said that I'm going to apply to my business? And because I don't want to just talk for the sake of talking, I want to get better, right? So,
well, that's the whole thing. We need to learn from each other in the mortgage business, and by sharing our secrets, we're not competing with each other. We're competing with the banks.
Right, and exactly. Like if you say we have 30% of overall market share of maybe 40% of new business, but I believe we can get that higher if we start working together a little better.
Yeah, well, creating the awareness too, is a big thing. And every time I see a mortgage brokerage do marketing campaigns, I'm all about it, because it's creating awareness to the mortgage side. We need more people to understand what mortgage brokers do. The loyalty to the bank, those days are almost over. The younger generations coming in, people are starting to think more competitively. They're not all thinking, I owe it to my bank. I got to deal with my bank on this mortgage. So creating that awareness is definitely what the mortgage industry needs to do. Yeah,
and I find that demographically too, there's certain under 30 that totally, yep, got it. But if maybe over 50, I find sometimes they're the most reluctant they've been in that relationship with their bank for 20 or 30 years and yeah, so
100% on that, and geographically too. As I said, I'm from Saskatchewan. The mortgage business is just starting to grow in Saskatchewan. There's a lot more credit unions there, and it's a smaller community sense, even in the bigger cities, Saskatoon and Regina. And starting my business here in Calgary, and had friends that were in the mortgage business in Regina, I could see that it's a struggle for them to build up the business, because there is that loyalty feeling there, just because everyone feels they need to deal with their credit union, or they know their bankers personally. And coming to a bigger center like Calgary, you have people that work at the bank level, the ones that are doing the mortgages, they're maybe 2-3 steps down the ladder from entry level, and if they're good, they're moving on right away because there's so much opportunity. And you go to the smaller, less populated areas, those people are sitting in the same shoes for a lot longer period of time. So the clients feel that they owe it to them because they have that personal relationship. So
that's actually a very clever insight. I totally agree. I find that, like, I deal with the credit union in my market's about 100,000, but honestly, the turnover is crazy, because anybody who's good is moving on. But in a smaller town, there is nowhere unless they want to leave town, there's nowhere for them to go. So they stay in that role and then really entrench, with their community. So yeah, I never actually drew that connection. That's pretty sharp.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Okay, so the other thing I've been noticing, I've been reading in the magazines and talking to other brokers, and there's just this need to diversify your income. And so, is there any one area or product that you're cross-selling that's working, or an area that you want to focus on in the next year?
Well, you'll hear from from for diversifying, like you're talking in just the mortgage business, like different ways to grow your income in.
Yeah, or anything, man. Anything that you're doing that's kind of working, or that you're planning on doing, just so that we can learn and listen. And again, it's whatever it is you're doing. There's no right answer.
Yeah. Well, like, first of all, in the mortgage business, I guess one of the areas that I've been diversifying is I'm becoming more involved in the commercial side of it. I've been doing residential mortgages now for, like I said, 9 years, and the commercial side of it is an area that I find challenging, and I'm learning a lot in that business. And getting referrals in the commercial side, I used to hand them off to other people, but now that I've been doing this for a while and learning from the other people as I've been working through my referrals to commercial brokers, I've started to do it myself. You want to be able to offer your clients as much as you can. I mean, I'm not saying to be a jack of all trades and be a handyman and sell them insurance and sell them everything else under the sun. Stick to what you know. But financing is relatively the same. It's just a lot more work on the commercial side. So by growing my commercial book, it's also given me an advantage, because if things slow down on the residential side, I'll still have those commercial clients. So that's an area within the mortgage business that I see that it's a good way to make money. Looking into the alternative financing side, a lot of people and the tighter mortgage rules coming out, and we find it's harder to get a client approved with the A lenders. And knowing the alternative side to it, and what the B lenders have to offer, and how we can do stated income deals, or people with bruised credit, get them approved, and having the knowledge of all those products is definitely something that is going to grow your business and earn you more money.
So, well, like you were saying, you've been doing this for 9 years. So to expand into commercial mortgages it's not like it's your second year in and you've got the residential stuff down. I mean, it is changing, but you stay on top of it. And then so adding another type of lending is not becoming an insurance broker. So tell me about the last year in how's the split of your business?
So in the last year, my business, I've done about 85% A and 15% B.
And then what about, which side is growing, the A or B for you?
Well, the B side has been picking up. I'd say in the last year is about 15%. Well, in the last week I sent in 5 deals to B lender. I've been growing that side just because of the tightening of the mortgage rules. So that's another competitive advantage that we have as the broker channel, is that the clients don't know where to go for the B lenders. You can't just walk into Scotia Bank and if you get the client and say, "Oh, here, go to this lender because you don't have the best credit." That's an area that you can really grow your business, and I see it growing because we've had the B20 Act come, and now the B21's coming shortly. We might see the mortgage business or the tightening up here in the future with the new guidelines that are coming out. A lot of people are worried that 30-year amortizations are going to be gone. Might tighten up on the debt servicing ratios. We're going to probably see them tighten even more, which is going to create more need for the B side. And by understanding the B side and knowing all the products, you're definitely going to be in a good position to grow your business.
Yeah, no, I agree. I went to the town hall meeting a couple of weeks ago, and I was seeing how much Home Trust has been growing market share, or like originations, and it's primarily B business. So obviously there's a trend happening, and so yeah, it's good to think about how you can position yourself in your market to take advantage of it. So another question I'd like to ask is, how do you run you're a busy guy. I know that you're working on, you're very involved in your files. And so how do you run your business and still, have time for your wife? And is your wife or your girlfriend?
Wife. Your
wife, right. So you and your wife, and I know that you went to Mexico. So how do you manage that? Well,
you gotta make time for it. You need to have that work and personal life balance. And this time of the year, April through to May, it's the toughest part of it. It's our busy season starts, the spring buyers market. Everyone wants to be in the house for the summer, get their kids moved over for schools and all that kind of stuff. And And also that's when our mortgage renewals are up too. So we're dealing with the most renewals. So it is a busy time, and I have to admit sometimes I'm working till 11 o'clock at night and up and back to work at 6:30 in the morning. So, you need that break. You can't burn out. You need to have the time. And really what you need is support. You need to have a good team to work with. You need to have to rely on your colleagues. Having someone that can watch your business for you, and, like I said, having that conveyor belt so they can just pick up and go into it and see where you left off and take the deal to the end is very important. Assistant, when I first got in the business, I obviously didn't have the volume and I didn't have an assistant. But as I got busier and busier, I realized I need to have that support. And I try to do it all from start to finish with each one of my clients. And I noticed that over time, their level of service was declining. So bringing in an assistant will help you grow your business, even though it's going to cost you some money up front, and you're going to, you're going to be looking at your bank account and saying, "Oh, I got to pay this every month," and over time, you're going to free up more time to get new clients and grow it even more. But you got to make sure that you're not selling yourself short. You need to take time off. Otherwise, you're going to burn out, and you're not going to be as efficient with your clients.
Mm-hmm. Take those breaks that you like, that I know that you do. So now we're going to move into the rapid fire questions where you can answer these a little bit shorter. So what is the number one thing holding most mortgage brokers back from being successful?
I think I touched on it a couple of times here with product knowledge. A lot of brokers don't get all the products on the A and B side. You need to know them. You need to gain the client's confidence in that first phone call or first meeting. Otherwise they're going to walk and go somewhere else. So they don't feel confident that you know what you're going to do, then they're going to go somewhere else. So knowing everything about all the different types of products that you can offer is definitely a good practice. Now, don't make a mistake and tell the client an answer that you don't know the answer to. If you don't know the answer, be upfront, be professional, tell them, I don't know this answer, I'll find out, I'll get back to you as soon as possible.
Right. Yeah, product knowledge is definitely, and it's only become more complex, not less, that I've found. I mean, I've been doing it for 8 years, and that's why I call you once in a while and I say, Tyler, what do you think of this? So,
same goes to you. You have some deals there in BC that I need to talk to you about, and didn't know what the local credit unions are offering. Like you said, it's constantly changing. We all need to pull up our socks and stay on top of it. But over time, you're going to gain more knowledge, and if you're not sure of something, you can tell the client that. But ideally, if you have the answers right away, they're going to like that a lot better.
Right. And then, do you have like an internet resource, a program or software that you use to make your business more successful?
Yeah, I've been working under this resource. I use a tool called GoMax, and I've been using it for about 6 years now. It stores all my documents and each client's file. I can keep notes on it. It's also a CRM program. For the clients, I can send them monthly electronic newsletters, send them, what my rates are, what's going on in the market with average home prices, that kind of stuff. Also even sends them little things like birthday reminders. That's also one of the tools I use that sends me my renewal date reminders. It's a great tool. So
have you got any, just as a side note, have you got any business from some of those automatic tools?
Well, I mean, it's all internal. This is dealing with the existing client, but the monthly newsletter, I get business from that all the time. It's sending my rates and what's going on in the market, and it's also keep reminding people who I am. A lot of people forget about you. They forget who their mortgage broker is, and if they're getting a monthly email from you, they know who you are. They've seen something from you. Even if they're not reading it, they see that email coming in and they want to keep it because they know that there's some good information on there. So those people say, oh yeah, my sister needs to buy a house now. Yeah, you should use my mortgage broker, and pull up the email and forward it off to them. And I don't know how many times I get an email from someone with my newsletter subject line in it saying, oh, so-and-so referred you to me. And so yeah, definitely get some leads out of it.
Yeah, no, that's awesome, and I'm sure the guys at GoMax would love to hear you saying this. So I'll let them. I'll let them know. There's like a little ad built right into this conversation.
Yeah.
So, if you had one book that you could recommend to our listeners, what would it be?
The Success Principles by Jack Canfield.
Success Principles. I haven't read that one. I'll put it on my list. And where do you think the industry's headed? Like, where's the opportunity? I think we touched on it earlier, but is there other areas that you're thinking, or?
Well, the industry, I see it growing. I think that, providing more awareness to your local area about what mortgage brokers do, getting involved in the community, well, you can grow your own business. But I see the industry as a whole growing. On new origination, new deals, we've seen the market share grow up to 40% this last year. That's coming from about 35-37% in previous years. So that's telling us that it is growing, and there's more need for mortgage brokers, just like we talked about on the B side. But where the opportunity is, and if you're just getting in the business, where I would focus a lot of my time is with the new to Canada people. Newcomers is growing each year, the amount of people that are coming into Canada and immigration. Those people more need a mortgage broker than a banker, because the banker's not going to walk them through the steps and how to get it approved, and what you need to build up your credit, and how much money you need to save for the down payment. If you can tap into that area and start working with the newcomers, that's an area that you're going to be able to be successful, because those people are all first-time home buyers, and those people eventually look to you for their renewals, and they're going to have other family members coming to Canada. So that's a really good area to grow your business.
So the new to Canada market, yeah, that's not an area that I've targeted, but I'm gonna keep my ears open for it. So here's one of my favorite questions: that if you woke up tomorrow and you'd sold your business in Calgary and you moved somewhere about the same size, maybe you moved to Vancouver, and you'd sold your book of business, so you can't contact your past clients, but you want to start a mortgage business, what's the first 3 things you're gonna do once you get in Vancouver to start building a mortgage business again?
Well, networking is the one word I'd sum it up in, but how I do that is whatever I'm involved in, and for me, I play a lot of squash. I get involved in the squash community. I get involved with my local community wherever I'm living, the community association. Start knocking on doors at the builders' offices and going to all the sales centers and letting everyone know what I do, my experience, the service level that I can provide them, and build up the clientele base that way. And then the next thing I would do is I would build a successful team. And that's one things about that book that I was telling you about, is it talks about how to build a success team. And it's all about surrounding yourself with other people that are going to help your team grow. So aligning yourself with a good lawyer, a good property appraiser, good realtors, insurance brokers. Those are all people that are going to be lead generators for you, but you need to have those people in place so that when you do eventually pick up new clients, that you can have, give them the confidence that you can refer them to other people that are also going to make you look good, because they're doing a good job. They're getting the deal across the goal line, because it's not just the mortgage broker that takes the mortgage and gets it approved and closes it. There's a lot of other people involved, and that's the lawyer, the paralegals. You need home insurance, you need a home inspector, you need appraisers, all that kind of stuff. But networking and building that team is what I would do, and that's how I would get started.
Networking and team building, that's great advice. And so a couple last questions. So are you hiring brokers at all in your market?
Yes, I am. Right now, I've had an opportunity to meet with a couple of new agents, and it looks like they'll be coming over. So although I'm busy, I do find it advantageous to grow the business. I really find that having more brokers in the team is definitely an advantage. I mean, it is tough because sometimes you're getting bogged down with their questions, but I do hire, and ideally I do a mix. I like to have some agents that are new to the business, and then some that have years of experience. The ones that have years of experience, they kind of do their own thing. You don't have to really worry about them. Just check up on them every once in a while. Maybe they're going to ask you about where to take a deal here and there. But getting the new agents in is also important, because without the new agents, we're not going to grow the business. Some of them may not work out. You got to be patient with them and then give them all the information and tools they need. But every one of them deserves that, and once in a while you're going to find one that is going to stick, and they're really going to grow the business and find a way to gain market share.
Yeah, and where can people find you online?
Well, people find me online or through, just through word of mouth. Most of my agents are referred either from existing agents that are in my team, or through clients that I've worked with. Say, no, you should talk to this so-and-so. They just moved here from Saskatchewan. He was a mortgage broker in Saskatchewan and he'd like to get started here. But I have a website, but I don't really advertise on the website to grow the business. It's usually inside the agents that I pick up.
And if somebody's looking for you, so the other way they can find you, if they go to I Love Mortgage Brokering and type in your name, Tylor, and it's Tylor, they'll actually find the show notes, and I'll put a link to you there so that if somebody is interested in connecting with you about joining your team, then they can find you. So this has been a fantastic interview. Tylor, I really appreciate you taking the time. I know you're a busy guy. And if you just had one last piece of advice that you could leave brokers, what would it be?
Take each day in stride. Don't get too stressed out with the day-to-day questions and emails, and things get really busy, and you get bogged down. But every day is a new day, and just focus on the important things and giving your clients the service that they need. Okay,
awesome. Thanks, Tylor.
Thank you.
Where the best mortgage brokers get better. I Love Mortgage Brokering with your host, Scott Peckford.
Hi, Broker Nation. If you enjoyed this interview, please take a minute, visit iTunes, and rate this podcast. If you do, you'll get 3 deals in the next month. Okay, that's not true, but I would really appreciate it. Also, I want to invite you to join me on a quest. After every episode, I personally take 5 minutes and think about one thing or one idea I can use to improve my mortgage business. I encourage you to do the same. Over the next 12 months, I plan to do 100 interviews and make 100 improvements. I'm going to track these to see how they impact my business and, more importantly, my bottom line. Visit ilovemortgagebrokering.com and post in the show notes what one thing you plan to do differently after listening to this interview, and check out what other brokers are sharing. Also, if you'd like to connect with me, fire me an email at scott@robyourbank.com. I love hearing from passionate mortgage professionals who are interested in improving their business. Until next time, rock on.